People have killed for it. Empires have risen because of it. Revolutions were sparked by it. And today, you sprinkle it on your dinner without thinking. Salt, the most ordinary mineral in your kitchen. But for most of human history, it was more valuable than gold. So how did a simple rock become powerful enough to build empires, topple kings, and ignite one of the most important acts of civil resistance the world has ever seen? This is salt, the rock that built and ruined empires. Today, salt is something we take entirely for granted. It's cheap. It's everywhere. We buy kilograms of it without blinking. But for thousands of years, this wasn't true. Salt could preserve food long before refrigeration. It allowed armies to march, cities to grow, and civilizations to survive winters and droughts. Salt was power. Whoever controlled it controlled life. The story begins long before written history. Early humans learned that rubbing salt into meat slowed decay, turning fleeting food into something that could last. A breakthrough measured not in convenience, but survival. In ancient Egypt, salt played a sacred role. Natron, a naturally occurring salt mixture, was used in the mummification process, helping preserve bodies prepared for the afterlife. Life and death, both controlled by salt. Across coastal regions, people evaporated seawater in shallow pans, harvesting crystals from the sun. Others dug deep underground to mine rock salt. It was hard, physical work, and what came out of the ground was precious. Salt soon became money. In Ethiopia, bars of rock salt, known as amol, were used as currency. Travelers and merchants recorded them being traded like gold, and even into the early 20th century, tax records show Ethiopia collecting state revenue in salt bars. Salt wasn't just a flavor, it was value. Even the word salary connects back to salt. Our English word comes from the Latin salarium, meaning a salt-related allowance. And no matter how often it's repeated in pop history books, there is no serious evidence that Roman soldiers were literally paid in salt. That part is myth. But the idea that wages were conceptually tied to salt, that's real. And it tells you something. Salt meant livelihood. Salt kept food stable, cities functioning, wars supplied, and people alive. Without it, nothing worked. And the world was ready to fight for it. Once salt became essential, the world began to move it. Across the Sahara Desert, enormous caravans hauled salt from deep Saharan mines to West African markets, where it was traded for gold. Travelers like Ibn Battuta described caravans of around 1,000 camels, sometimes many more, crossing brutal routes for weeks. Each camel could haul hundreds of pounds of goods, tons of salt dragging across the desert under a burning sun. Salt helped build West African kingdoms and funded the wealth of cities like Timbuktu, a trading center built on the back of white crystals cut from the earth. Further north, the Roman Empire built the Via Salaria, the Salt Road, to transport salt across Italy, shaping settlement patterns and military logistics. Roads were mapped to salt, cities built around supply, and armies marched on it. In medieval Europe, Venice became a powerhouse by controlling salt shipping, storing, and taxing. Salt didn't just create wealth, it created power structures. Where salt flowed, civilization advanced. Where it stopped flowing, everything stopped with it. Rulers quickly understood that salt could be controlled, and if you controlled salt, you controlled the people. In China, beginning in the Tang Dynasty, the state created a salt monopoly, forcing merchants to buy salt at official rates that baked the tax into the price. Over centuries, salt taxes were one of the most reliable and substantial revenue streams for the imperial government. Salt didn't just feed bodies, it fed empires. In France, the salt tax, known as the gabelle, turned ordinary people into smugglers. The law required citizens to buy a fixed amount of taxed salt from state depots, whether they needed it or not. People despised it. Smuggling was rampant. And when France exploded in revolution in 1789, areas with the highest salt taxes were among the first to rise. Modern research shows those regions saw uprisings spread faster and further, the gabelle exaggerating tensions already on the brink. And in 1304, Venice literally went to war to prevent its neighbor Padua from developing rival salt works, a conflict known as the Salt War. Venice won, padlocking its monopoly for another generation. Salt wasn't seasoning. Salt was sovereignty. For thousands of years, salt was scarce and expensive. Then the Industrial Revolution arrived and everything changed. New technologies allowed mass production of salt from underground deposits and large evaporation pans. Suddenly, salt flowed in industrial quantities, enough to feed not only households, but the fast-expanding infrastructure of a mechanized world. Salt became the backbone of chemical manufacturing. Through electrolysis of brine, salt is transformed into chlorine, caustic soda, and soda ash, chemicals used to make glass, detergents, polymers and plastics, fertilizers, textiles, pharmaceuticals, and even components in modern battery and electronics manufacturing. Industry found new ways to use it faster than people could imagine. Salt was no longer luxury. It was infrastructure. But its most dramatic chapter was yet to come. In 1930, in British-ruled India, it was illegal to make salt without paying tax to the colonial government. Even gathering natural salt at the seashore was against the law. So, on the 12th of March, Mahatma Gandhi and a small group of followers left Sabarmati Ashram near Ahmedabad and began walking south, 240 miles on foot, heading towards the ocean. They walked for 24 days. Villages lined the road. Crowds swelled from dozens to hundreds to thousands. And the world watched. On the 6th of April, in the coastal village of Dandi, Gandhi bent down, scooped up a handful of salty mud, and boiled it into a tiny crust of salt, openly breaking the Salt Act in front of the world's press. It was a gesture so small, it could have been ignored. But it wasn't. Across India, tens of thousands joined acts of civil disobedience. People stormed salt depots. Protesters were beaten and jailed. Britain's control began to crack, all because of a mineral that had become a symbol of resistance. Salt had built empires, and now it was helping tear one apart. Today, most salt never touches food. It melts ice from winter roads. It treats drinking water. It becomes glass, plastics, detergents, and medical equipment. Salt keeps our shelves stocked, our transport moving, and our infrastructure functioning. The global salt market today is worth tens of billions of dollars and continues to grow year after year, driven not by the kitchen, but by industry. Salt built our past. Salt shapes our present. And salt will define the future far more than most people realize. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share. And tell us in the comments what everyday object would you like to know the hidden history of.